Hello and welcome back to Fallout 76. Today we're going to talk about fusion core farming. Now, why am I interested in fusion core farming? Well, it has to do with the next update where we are getting a massive reduction in the AP cost for most heavy guns. And that means playing a VATS heavy gunner is a lot more approachable. The downside of that is that when using VATS in power armor, you will be going through fusion cores a whole lot faster. So I'm looking for an easy way to maintain my supply of fusion cores. One of the ways to do that is with the power user perk. It doubles the duration of fusion cores. With the ongoing perk rebalance, there's a lot more perks that are just more useful. And so if I can find a way to get rid of the power user card and free up those 3 points to put somewhere else, that's something I would like to do. Now, the quickest way to replenish your supply is just to craft them. You can see crafting a fusion core, that's done on a chemistry workbench. It takes one of every kind of flux per fusion core. If you equip the Ammo Smith perk, and the Ammo Factory Legendary perk at maximum rank, that increases the yield to 4 cores per craft. You can also throw on Super Duper for a chance to get an extra core here and there. But that does require a steady supply of flux, which not everybody has. Another option, which I've heard people suggest, I'm not a fan of this method, is to craft either a Gatling laser or an Ultrasight Gatling laser. And every time you craft one of those, it will give you 1 fusion core. But that takes a lot of resources as well, so you're basically just shifting which resources you're going to spend. Now, another option is to just loot random power armor spawns. They're all over the world, and they usually have a fusion core in them, but that fusion core is always at 25%. So what you end up with is a core that's not going to last that long unless you charge it up. Now, you can do that with a fusion core charger in your camp. The problem with that is it is an atomic shop item, and not everybody would have one of those. Plus, it does require a little bit of effort. You have to put the fusion core in there. You have to wait for it to charge up and then take it out. It only holds 4 at a time. So if you have a lot of these partially charged cores, it's just a lot of back and forth. The other option is to equip the core, put on electrical absorption if you're not already running it, which I highly recommend that you do, and then find an enemy that does energy damage. And then rinse and repeat. Again, that's a lot of effort that I don't really want to go to. So first up, we need the fusion generator plant. If you don't already have it, you can get it at the White Spring Mall. It's somewhere between 200 to 250 caps. It's pretty cheap. And you can get it right here from the shopping mall vendor. You can also get it from the Free States vendor and the Responders vendor. So what we're going to do is take a power plant workshop, and I actually prefer Monongah. There are 3 power plants, but the reason I like Monongah is taking the Monongah power plant is actually quicker than the other 2. So you just follow the workshop symbol around here. And if this is a workshop that hasn't been claimed by anybody else and hasn't been taken over by, enemies that have attacked it or whatever, it's just going to be 3 ghouls, and they'll be right here in the middle. And of course, watch them not be. But yeah, just 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. If I can hit them, boom. That's all it takes. Just 3 ghouls, and we're ready to take the workshop. So once you've claimed the workshop, what you want to do is go around back into the yard. And right over here, this is a fusion core processor. That's what you want. Now, this thing does require power. It requires 100 power. Now, one way to power it is to take the power plant or restart the power plant. Obviously, that's not quick and easy, so we're not going to do that. And that's why you need the fusion core generator. Now, one thing I would recommend, this is something I'm going to do, is put down a fast travel target, and that is under miscellaneous structures. So once we do that, so that means when I fast travel back here, I will fast travel right to that spot. Now, this only works in workshops, not something you can do in your camp, but that means when I'm farming, collecting the fusion cores from this, I'll just fast travel back. I'll be right here, right in front of it, take the cores, and then leave. And then we'll put down our fusion generator right there. And we'll hook up power, and this thing is cranking out. Now this will start cranking out fusion cores. Oh, we will get a defend event. That's another downside. This does crank out fusion cores. Now, according to the wiki, it puts out a core every 7 minutes. When I timed it, it was a little different than that. It wasn't really consistent. The first core was 4.5 minutes. Second core came out 7 minutes later. The third core was 7.5 minutes later. So yeah, I'm not really sure what to make of that, but that's what it got when I actually timed it out. Now, this does max out at 3 cores, which means you'll have to check it fairly regularly, about every 20 minutes or so, something like that. I think the easiest way to do that is if you're on a server, just do events. And after every single event, because they are spaced 20 minutes apart, come here, empty the fusion core processor, and then go about your business. And then after the next event, that way you don't have to watch the clock. Just after every event, just come here and clean this out. So it's been roughly 21 minutes, give or take. So we're gonna fast travel back to the workshop and check out our Fusion Core collector. So we fast traveled back and it put us right here, right in front of the Fusion Core processor, and it is full. We've got 3 Fusion cores in it. That is the big downside of this method, or the only downside I think, is that it only holds 3 cores, so you do have to check it fairly frequently. But you get 3 cores and they're all 100% charged, so they're all ready to go. And obviously, if you need more cores, you could take all 3 power plant workshops, and then every 20 minutes you're gonna get 9 or so. But I think this is going to be my preferred method of gathering Fusion cores. That way I can ditch Power User and put those 3 points to work somewhere else. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit one of the buttons, and I hope you'll join me in the next one. Thank you very much.